We're going to start our presentation and our meeting tonight, so I need you to be quieter. You have to be quieter. That's right. You have to be quieter. Obedience. Father Taylor taught me that obedience is better than sacrifice. So I need you to be quiet so that we can get this meeting started, because the idea is to get you home tonight. Get you home. All right. So it is my pleasure now to introduce to you the project manager of the HELP initiative, who has been a blessing to me and a blessing to this work. And I want you to put your hands together for Ms. Pam Collier. Could you put your hands together for her? Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Burgess, and thank you everybody for coming out tonight. I really appreciate you coming. Can you hear me now? Is that better? Okay. Thank you, Reverend Burgess, for the introduction and for the opportunity to work with the great people of Homewood. And thank you, everybody, for coming out this evening. Hopefully everybody can hear me over all the food. Hopefully. My name is Pam Collier. As Reverend Burgess mentioned, I'm the project manager of the HELP initiative. There's quite a few of you in the audience that may not be aware of everything. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. There are a few of you who may not be aware of everything that HELP is. We've put together a video that gives you a great overview, and at the end of the video I'll come back and I'll share a little bit more information about what we've been doing as representatives of the HELP initiative. And so I've always wanted to say this. Sean, hit it.
Communities can create their own legacies based on memories and proud moments, such as Pittsburgh calling itself the City of Champions, or being known as America's most livable city. Yet it hasn't been livable for all of its residents. In the East End of Pittsburgh, many residents feel hopeless. After decades of missteps and false promises, some feel that there's nothing we can do to revitalize these communities. But the HELP initiative has arrived, and these communities will soon be changing for the better. The HELP initiative is a comprehensive multi-neighborhood resident-driven program designed to protect, strengthen, and rebuild targeted East End communities. The HELP initiative has begun in 5 communities in the East End of Pittsburgh, which make up its name: Homewood, East Hills, East Liberty, Lincoln Leamington Belmar, and Larimer. The P in the acronym is for protection. HELP will protect these communities by capitalizing on both the strengths and the opportunities in the East End market. The HELP initiative's overall goals are to preserve and increase affordable housing and develop diverse, mixed-income, sustainable communities. HELP differs from other programs primarily because it is a heavily resourced, comprehensive, resident-driven, results-oriented effort across multiple East End communities. The guiding principles of HELP are to be resident-driven, facilitating bottom-up community input to ensure citizens participate in planning and development in their own communities. To provide comprehensive planning, bringing all development pieces together across neighborhoods to leverage the strengths of the East End as a whole. To create mixed-income communities, transforming concentrated poverty into vibrant, diverse, more resource-rich communities. And to avoid displacement, protecting low and moderate income families from being displaced by development. Today, there are many challenges confronting East End communities. HELP specifically addresses 3 main challenges that impact quality of life: crime, blight, and market rate pressures. Revitalization that creates improved housing and enhances job opportunities, business growth, and other community improvements will not be successful or sustainable without reducing crime. Blight, both in closed businesses and abandoned homes and lots, also limits the development of strong communities. On the other side, rapidly increasing property values place residents at risk for displacement. In the East End, help is needed. The HELP initiative meets its overall goals by engaging with residents, faith-based and community-based organizations in targeted communities through a 5-step community improvement process. It first begins with community collaboration. In each HELP neighborhood, there is a collaborative comprised of neighborhood stakeholders that addresses affordable housing and displacement in a careful and measured manner. Engaged community residents will hold the HELP initiative accountable throughout all stages of development. Next is comprehensive planning. In each HELP neighborhood, an ongoing planning partnership will collaborate with stakeholders within the community to create a comprehensive community plan. The comprehensive community plan will become the guiding document for economic and community revitalization. Currently, community plans are already in place and are being implemented in Larimer and East Liberty. Following comprehensive planning is capacity in community organizations. HELP will provide extensive technical assistance along with funding to improve organizational capacity of key community-based organizations. These organizations can utilize HELP's assistance to facilitate and implement community, economic, and housing development activities and to provide needed services in the HELP initiative's neighborhoods. Next are capital investments. The HELP initiative will establish an East End Growth Fund. In addition, HELP will coordinate all available resources from public and private entities. Lastly is construction of projects and coordination of services. The HELP initiative will oversee a process to create sustainable, vibrant, and safe mixed-income neighborhoods. This process will include the production of affordable housing in the East End and other projects consistent with the most recent neighborhood planning processes and consensus. The HELP initiative has targeted raising $300 million to build 2,200 new and rehab homes and rental units to support the revitalization of the East End. And yet, HELP is more than housing. The HELP initiative is bringing community nonprofits, local residents, foundations, thought leaders, city government, and faith-based organizations together to create comprehensive community plans that will guide development in their own communities. HELP will blend these positive forces into one united effort that will carefully revitalize neighborhoods by implementing change, by focusing on safety, housing, people, community, business development, and sustainability. HELP takes a comprehensive approach to rebuilding the East End. The HELP initiative recognizes that large-scale investment is necessary to overcome the severe challenges in these communities and is working diligently to secure the much-needed funding. Already, HELP is on the way. In Homewood, $50 million of affordable housing development is already funded. In Larimer, 350 mixed-income units are already under construction. In East Liberty, residents and stakeholders continue fulfilling the Community Vision Plan, allowing all to benefit from its tremendous growth. And in East Hills and Lincoln Leamington Belmar, residents are organizing to craft comprehensive plans to guide future development. But we still need your help. We invite you to participate in the change you want to see in your community through the HELP initiative. Help has arrived. Take the pledge, join a community collaborative, and get involved in the cooperative effort to build strong, healthy communities.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the team that worked on that video. They worked really hard over the summer to bring all of those elements together so that it was better understood. So thank you for the team for putting that together. Just a couple of housekeeping matters just so that we kind of flow for the evening. I wanted to share that we had some community resource ambassadors here this evening, and we wanted to give a round of applause for the folks that came out to support us today. So, of course, OBB, Homewood Children's Village. La Heap is here. If anybody, if anybody is interested in some assistance with your energy, La Heap is here. Mrs. Gainey is here today, representing the veterans. That's right, clap. We have Duquesne Law School. I don't know whether anybody knows this or not, but Duquesne Law School has help available if you are going through a divorce or have expungement issues. Sometimes in our neighborhoods, there are young people that made mistakes when they were younger, and it's problematic to get those things taken care of. Well, Duquesne Law School is here to help you with that. So take a moment before the end of the evening and make sure that you visit the folks at our tables and thank them, YWCA, YMCA. Just thank them for coming and see what it is that they're offering, okay? For this evening, I'm going to next up introduce Kevin Acklin, who works with the mayor, does great work with the mayor. So I'll introduce him next. We'll have the presenters come up, the developers come up and talk a little bit about their projects so that you have a better understanding of where we are now. We are going to do breakout sessions so that you'll get an opportunity to speak one-on-one with the developers. I'd like to thank my friend Rashad Birdsong. Brother Rashad, thank you for allowing us to come to your house today. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank the developers. And again, I thank you for wanting to participate. So you had an opportunity to see what help is. If you don't mind, we're going to kind of break order for a moment. I'd like to bring Kevin Acklin up. He's the Chief of Staff for Mayor Bill Perduto. He's the Chief Development Officer and the Chairman of the Board of the Urban Redevelopment Authority.
Thank you. Thank you. Evening, Homewood. How you guys doing tonight? Honored to be here. Again, my name is Kevin Acklin. I'm the Chief of Staff to Mayor Perduto. I'm also Chairman of the Urban Redevelopment Authority. On behalf of the Mayor, apologies he can't be here tonight. I think there's an election tomorrow, I heard. You guys heard anything about that? So he's at a rally on the other side of town, so just make sure you get out and vote tomorrow. It's one of the most important elections we have ahead of us. And a lot of the work that you just heard about here is because of the relationship we have with Washington that's been so strong. You know, as places like Harrisburg and D.C. struggle, it's really the partnership that we built with the Obama White House that has allowed us to bring so much back here to the city of Pittsburgh, and that's been something we've been fortunate to say. I probably can't say anything more. I'll go to prison because I'm here on the public's dime. I can't talk about politics, but where we are as a city right now is an important place. We have a city that's growing. For the first time, Mayor Perduto, previous mayors were charged with managing decline, and we're now charged with managing growth. But I think we all know that economic growth isn't being fairly attributed to all city neighborhoods. We have whole neighborhoods in this city that have seen disinvestment over several decades. We have kids growing up in neighborhoods that don't have the same economic opportunities that they do just maybe on the other side of the river or the other side of town. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight. Community-driven development is what Mayor Perduto came here to do. That's why we have partnerships with Reverend Councilman Burgess, with Representative Gainey, to really build the kind of development, not where developers come in and roll over a neighborhood, but they come to places like tonight. And Brother Rashad, thank you for hosting us here at CEA, the kind of work that you've been doing for decades, to really invest in people. And that's what this initiative is all about. It's about collaboration. It's about bringing the resources of the URA, the Housing Authority, who's here tonight, to align all the investment that we have as a city and put it to work to empower neighborhoods, not just to build buildings, but to invest in people. And that's really what we're trying to accomplish, is really supporting community-driven development. And you're going to hear tonight, later in the program, from a bunch of developers who were here tonight, and we work with them because they work with the community. And so we're really at this moment in this city's history where it's up to us, and shame on us if we can't turn the corner and build the kind of city that's affordable for everybody and that empowers everybody, that everyone shares in this new Pittsburgh. And that in building ladders of opportunity, that's the kind of organization that we're trying to build here tonight. So I'll also say, hold us accountable. When we come to Homewood and we talk about community-driven development and working with the community, I want you to tell us when you feel like we're getting off track. And I think if what you just saw here was a paradigm that a lot of hard-working folks have put together to make sure that the kind of development we're doing is community-driven, that empowers and builds upon the community. And we're looking to take this as a model to other areas of the city. So with that, I'm honored to be here with you. Those of us who work in the administration, this is the kind of work that we came here to do. And again, hold us accountable. We're looking forward to a lot of hard work ahead of us. But if we get this right, the folks who have lived through the hard times in the neighborhoods here in the East End are going to be living through some good times, and doing so in a manner that everyone shares in that wealth creation, and that's what we're trying to do. So thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with all of you and for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate that. And we also in the House have State Representative Ed Gainey, a friend of all of us. If you come up and say a couple of words.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? Good, good. Up first, let's give Pam a round of applause. It's not easy pulling something like this together, so let's give Pam a big hand. Secondly, I want to congratulate Reverend Ricky Burgess for putting the HELP initiative together. I think it has some merit. I believe that it's something that can be transformative and that can work out real well in the community. So first and foremost, I want to thank Reverend Burgess for that vision. Secondly, I want to be sure that everybody knows that first and foremost, Homewood has to love it. Larmer has to love it. Lincoln, Leamington, Belmore has to love it. East Hills have to love it. You, the community, have to love it in order to keep us accountable to bring products to the community that you believe the community is ready for and deserves. You have to love it. So you being here tonight is the first step in listening to a plan, listening to developers, and finding out if this is something that you agree with or not. We are here to listen to you and find out exactly what it is you think is good, exactly what you think needs to be changed, because if you, the community, don't embrace it, neither do Ed Gainey. Let me be clear with that. I would like to see this happen, but it's only going to come together if we work with the community. So today is the first step in making sure that you okay with the movement of the HELP initiative. I support this initiative on three things, and I've been very transparent with the mayor, with Reverend Burgess. One is I want to see my organizations gain capacity. When you have CEA, OBB, Homewood Children's Village, Diane Swan, I see Reverend Wallace right here, HCC, when you have all these organizations and we have new development coming into our community, the only way that we ensure that our community grows is if we're employed. Because that means the resources are just not bricks and mortars, but we are actually learning skills and rebuilding our community and making a living doing it. To me, the organizations have to grow capacity if we're going to have all-around development in Homewood Brush, and that's number one. Number two is community meetings. I think the most powerful thing we could do is have community meetings so that we can let you know step by step what's going on. I don't want you to be the last to know. I want you to be the first to know, particularly if it's happening in our community. And the way we ensure that is to have community meetings that allow us to hear from developers, from elected officials about what is going on. We have to put you first if we're going to be about any assistance or help. The third one is diversity in developers. We need to see developers that's African American. Keith Keys is one that I believe in. Maya Construction is one that I believe in. These are people that deserve an opportunity to make sure that they're helping to build our community. And we have to be sure that as this development goes forward, that we have diversity in developers so that we can ensure that that money is staying in our community, just like every other community that they do development in the city of Pittsburgh. That's what this is about. So today is the beginning. And so Homewood, now we know how we can be. East Lib, Lincoln, Leamington, Larmer. I don't want you to sit here and just criticize without being complimentary. I don't want you to sit here and just say no to everything like we trying to hold on to yesterday and we know ain't nothing in yesterday. That's why we going to vote for Hillary tomorrow, because we ain't going to vote for somebody to try to pull something out of yesterday knowing it'll never come back. So as we go forward, we got to have that same forward thinking. What is good for our communities? The word no never grew. But we together can create something great. I think Rick gave us a good template with the HELP initiative. Where it's weak, help to make it stronger. Where it's strong, empower it to grow. It's Homewood's time. And if we can come together to do this, if it's fitting to you, then Rick, let's make it happen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. There's so much that's been said that's really important that I just want to emphasize before I do my report out, because I'm accountable to all of you for the work that I do. So I want to build upon what Reverend Burgess has said, as well as Ed Gainey and Kevin Ackland. We're at a moment in time where we have an opportunity to transform this neighborhood. And the only way that we're going to be able to do that is to work together. There's no guarantee that we're all going to be in agreement. I don't know anybody that I agree with 100%. Do you? Any of you? So there are going to be places and spaces where we're not going to completely agree with one another. But let's see if we can find some commonality for the good of our community, right? Let's see if we can move this forward in a way that is uplifting for you and uplifting, importantly enough, uplifting for our children. So, how I've been spending my time is the HELP Initiative has had a series of meetings with the Homewood Collaborative, and I'd certainly like to thank them for all of the hard work that they've done. We've worked with the Homewood Ministerium. We have worked with the organizations, whether it's Brother Rashad and OBB and Homewood Children's Village, and they've been holding us accountable and taking us to and giving us information and feedback that's been helpful in formulating the plan moving forward. So you may be asking, how do the residents plug in? Later on in the program, we're going to have someone talk about the planning that's been done prior to this, whether it's OBB and the cluster planning that's been done, or the Homewood visioning plan that's been done. What are we doing moving forward in terms of planning? And where do the residents plug in? Because that's key. This can't be a resident-driven initiative without the residents. So I hope that you will be patient. We're going to try to move through this. We are going to have the next up is Jonathan Klein. Jonathan is an architect and has worked with a number of different groups here, including, I think, OBB. He's going to give an overview of what kind of planning has been done in the past. After the developers speak, we're going to have a Q&A session. We're going to do breakout where you're going to go directly to the stations and ask specific questions. So, Jonathan, I know you're here somewhere. Ah, there you are. Thank you. Jonathan Klein, everybody.
Thank you, Pam. Good evening, everybody. So I'm up here to just talk very briefly about some of the past planning that's happened in the neighborhood. And the reason I've been asked to do it is that our firm, Studio for Spatial Practice, many of you have worked with us in the past on these different plans. So next slide, please, Sean. So the recent and perhaps most important plan for the neighborhood is the Homewood Cluster Plan that Operation Better Block convened, ran, and held many, many meetings over really a 2-year period. Next slide, please. The cluster plan, for anyone who did not participate, divided the neighborhood into a series of clusters and really created a resident-driven land use vision for what should happen in the future, especially on the vacant land and with the vacant buildings in those parts of the neighborhood. It had a lot of resident input. This slide is a diagram of how the process worked between OBB staff and the various meetings that happened. So each cluster had 3 separate meetings to really develop a vision for what should happen in the future. Next slide, please. This slide summarizes that vision. And so every place you're seeing a little colored block is a place that's either a vacant building or a vacant lot today. And the cluster plan created a vision for what should happen with every single one of those pieces of property, whether it should be a new house or a community garden, a new business, a new place to create potentially jobs. Next slide, please. A lot of the focus in that vision is on new housing, both new opportunities for home ownership, potentially new rental property, as well as some ideas about open space. Next slide, please. The cluster plan also puts forth a vision for the Homewood and Frankstown business districts, really as both a cultural destination, an African-American cultural destination, and also a place that can meet residents' needs through goods and services. Next slide, please. Just a little bit, so the cluster plan was completed last year and serves as the most recent and the most comprehensive and resident-driven vision. It built on a few plans that happened before that some of you may have gone to meetings about in the years preceding that. The earliest one was called Bridging the Busway, and this was convened by the Urban Redevelopment Authority, and it really focused on the areas around the Homewood busway stop. Next slide. And related to that was another study about transit-oriented development and how development could be really focused around the busway stop, and also how improvements like improvements to the busway station itself could be made. Next slide. So my role, and the other reason I'm standing up here is that I'm a consultant to the Health Initiative. I work with Pam. My job is to try to make sure that as development comes, next slide please, that we're relating it back to these past plans and trying to coordinate all of it. So this map, which there's also a copy of on the easel there, and I'll be standing up here to answer questions about it at the end, summarizes abstractly the various development initiatives that we're going to talk about tonight. And just a few that you'll hear from, we're not going to hear about every single one of them. Some of them have happened already, like for example the lighthouse moving into the YMCA and the renovation of the YMCA just across the street. But some of the ones we'll hear about tonight would be new houses around Faison by S&A Homes in Oxford Development. Some new houses or new rental properties that will be right around us by KBK, and Keith Keys is going to talk about that. There are also a couple projects on this map that Building United of Southwestern Pennsylvania is pursuing, and I believe Sam Ware is going to talk about those. And some efforts by the URA on Kelly Street. So with that, I think I will hand it to Andrew Dash from the City Planning Department, who's going to talk about the next steps for planning, which will be building on the planning work that I've just talked about.
Thanks, Jonathan. Good evening, everybody. My name is Andrew Dash. I work with the city's Department of City Planning, and there's been a lot of work that's gone on that Jonathan and his firm have worked with you all as residents on, and really the next step is taking that to create a comprehensive community plan. And what that is a city has a comprehensive plan that's kind of the guiding how it develops. And instead of the city doing one and telling neighborhoods what that guidance is, we're really kind of working at it at a community scale, creating these comprehensive community plans to then have the residents, the resident visions that have already been created, then be turned into action plans through these comprehensive community plans. So, really, you see us working right now. We're working in Uptown, doing that through the Eco Innovation District process. We're working with residents in Uptown on one of these. And we've been working with our clients as the Homewood Collaborative, the members of the collaborative, to create an RFP for a comprehensive community plan in Homewood, and building on all of this work that you all have done. And so really, we're going to work with the collaborative members in the upcoming months to release a request for proposals, to bring consultants in here, to take all of that work that you've already done, all of that vision that you've already worked to create, and try to develop a plan out of that leads into what are the actions that come next as to what Homewood wants to see take place, and what actions that the city will take to implement those visions. Give it back to Pam. Pam, there you are. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So as you can see, there's a lot of work yet to be done. Next up to the mic is Brother Rashad, if you'd like to come up and say some words in your house.
Thank you, Pam. First and foremost, I want to welcome everyone to our home. This is a historical moment. I've been living in Homewood, from Homewood, since I was 8 years old. I'm 67 now. And this is something for all of us old guys, been our vision for years. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Reverend Burgess and Representative Ed Gainey for their leadership. And we'd like to thank the city for their support. But most of all, we'd like to thank ourselves for working for the last 25 years that I know of to come up with a comprehensive plan for our community. But as we all know, with development come benefits. And one of the benefits that I'm really focusing on is not just the brick and mortars, but also job creation, wealth creation, also being able to help to increase business development, entrepreneurship for young people. The collaborative that we have now in Homewood is looking for some support from all of you. It's too heavy for 4 or 5 organizations to lift. So I'm part of helping to organize and facilitate the comprehensive community plan. Matter of fact, I'm from the old school that says do it when you got people together. So we have a list. Raise up your hand over there. Trace, raise your hand up, Traces. If you want to get involved with the comprehensive community plan, then that's where you need to go and sign up. Oftentimes, when things happen, you know, the disgruntled folks say, where was I at? Now, this is a personal invitation to you right now to sign up to get involved in this here. And lastly, I would like to also say that we have some young men amongst us tonight. Why don't y'all stand up for a minute? These young men over here, my construction group, these young men came through. These young men came through our training. So there's no use of talking about anything unless you talk about something concrete. My construction group is actually involved in 5 projects right now. We'd like to interview Johnny Comer. Is Johnny Comer here? He just walked out. That's good. He is the co-owner of MOD. And we also like to thank KBK. We all know who Keith is. Raise your hand, Keith. So we have people amongst us right now that's not just talking to talk. I've been working with Keith for at least 2 to 3 years now. I've been working with Reverend Burgess for the last 15 to 20 years and Representative Ed Gainey. But one thing I'd like to say to all of us here tonight, this is real. The stars, the moon, everything is lining itself up. So it's up to us now to make this plan concrete. So all of those that's willing to sit down and talk about workforce development training, housing, and those type of things, the preparation to get a house, the preparation for workforce development training, public safety, and young people, please, before you leave out of here, come over and sign up. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Rashad. I appreciate it. Next, we will start having our developers come up. And again, if we can allow the developers to present, and then at the end, we will have Q&A. First up is Darnell Jackson with the URA. He's the Project Development Specialist.
I guess I have an announcement first. I guess there's a black Ford truck, Louisiana license plate that needs to be moved. I don't know whose that is, but it's a black Ford truck with a Louisiana license plate. All right. Sorry. All right. I'm up here to talk about a couple projects, but I mean, I did want to say one thing first. I'm speaking. I feel comfortable speaking for the URA on this. I don't know how many developers or contractors are in this room. I can tell you that one of the things that we look for on every single project that we do is we look for minority women contractors. However, the one thing that I don't ever want to do is just take a minority contractor and put them in the box of, oh, we have to make our 25%, so you're a minority contractor, you can help me there. The key is that, there needs to be some level of communication between the URA or the people in the URA and the contractors that are in this neighborhood. Because it is important that you guys have the same opportunity as every other contractor in the city. So, going through, I'm not going to put Keith on the spot or anything, but, talking to some of these developers around here who we probably have contacts with, I think it's an important thing. Drop off your business card. Even if you're not currently registered with the state, I can speak for myself and say that if that's something that someone needed assistance with, I'll be more than willing to help with that process. Who? Oh, they are here today. Okay, great. So, they're in the back. Okay, good. Make sure you speak to the back of the room, actually. And if you're a contractor, it's good to be on that list. But again, I can speak for my group in saying that don't feel like you're going to be pigeonholed into you're a minority contractor, and so when we need a minority contractor, we're coming to talk to you. No, if you do good work, it's nice that you may fill that quota. However, if you do good work, we want to do work with you. So, all right, so I'm here to talk about 2 projects. I will be very short, I can promise you that. So I don't even think I have a slide up for this first one. I think the second one I do. Kelly Green. Kelly Green is a PHDC project in partnership with CCC. So PHDC is a corporation that's actually owned, it's a subsidiary of the URA. It gives us our ability to actually do development ourselves without, in a lot of cases, without working with an outside developer. So what we're actually building at Kelly Green, it's the actual project is down on Kelly and Dallas. Right on that corner, there are two open sites there that we're actually looking to build on. It's been a challenging project, but we've kept pushing forward on it. What we'll be building is 6 new passive house units, and these houses will actually be sold at market rate. Actually, in this case, we're actually looking to push the market. So we're looking to actually, sell these houses in the $200,000 range with some subsidy from the URA. I know people around here are smiling, but there was a time when Lawrenceville, when you said $200,000, and people would laugh at you there. And now those houses are selling for $700,000. So, it definitely can happen, and the only way you can do it is by doing that type of stimulus. The total investment for that project is in the $2 to $3 million range, and realistically, we're still working out the financing on that, which is one of the reasons why there's not really that much more to talk about on it right now, because we are working out some of the details. There's definitely going to be a significant amount of subsidy that's needed for this project, so that's one of the things we're working at. If we can get the one slide. Next one, yeah. Okay, I don't know if you can see this that well. This project is actually already financed and actually will be starting in the next 2 weeks. One of the things that you'll see very soon, and you'll know this project is getting started, is because the URA owns 2 pieces of land over on Homewood Avenue. We own the piece of land on Homewood in Hamilton, and then going down Homewood, if you go south, the second piece of land. Actually, we own the third too, but we'll be talking about that a little bit later. But we own that second piece of land, and we'll be using that for staging. So what you'll end up seeing there is you'll see the trailers and some equipment, and you'll see that it's fenced in and everything, just so that's an area that they can be close and have all their equipment close to them. This project is a partnership between S&A Homes and Oxford Development. What we're doing is we're building 36 units, and we'll be targeting families that are below 60% AMI, which is area median income. So these are, houses that will be targeted for rent to, affordable, low-income families. I mean, it's important that we keep, a decent amount of affordable housing, not only in the city, but actually in Homewood. All the units will be rental units for the first 15 years. After the 15 years are up, the people who are renting the homes will have the first option to purchase it. So it's not just, renting and low-income renting. We'll actually, in 15 years, actually sell these homes to people at an affordable rate. So we want to, we actually want to promote homeownership here in Homewood. Total investment for that project is $13 million. So it's actually a very significant project. I mean, honestly, this is one of the projects that I'm really proud that I've been a part of, because I just feel like with the investment that we've done with Homewood Station on finance and then the other Susquehanna houses, that area of Homewood will actually see a significant change by the end of next year, is when we should have people moving in. Let's talk about the fun stuff. MWBE participation. So this project will have 25% minority participation, and it'll have 21% women participation. So it's a total of 46% MWBE participation, or about $4.8 million that will go to minority contractors and women contractors. No questions right now, right? That's for later? Okay. So I'd like to thank you guys for your time, and I think that, Reverend Burgess, I haven't had much time to talk to him personally, but I have a lot of respect. Representative Ed Gainey, I used to talk to him all the time. We used to play basketball when I was a kid, so he was one of the older guys who used to tell me, "Get off the court, little guy." So, afterwards? Okay. I'll stick around, or actually I'll come over and sit if you want.
Thank you so much, Darnell. We appreciate that. So a couple of things that you probably heard. One is that there's an awful lot of opportunity for entrepreneurs. If you are interested in some assistance with getting certified as a minority business or a woman-owned business, see the ladies in the back from Allegheny County. They were kind enough to come. For those that are going to be interested in purchasing homes, we have Neighbor Works here. They will help you get your credit straight. They will help you towards that path of home ownership. Brother Rashad also has workshops planned for doing such as well. So we want to make sure that you know that those resources are available.
One other thing is, one of your own is Code GC on the Susquehanna home. My construction group is working with it. So we're looking for neighbors, we're looking for subcontractors right now. So whoever's a contractor wants to work on the home, go see John Cone, big hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we will have Reverend Sam Ware, the Executive Director of Building United of Southwestern Pennsylvania.
Thank you. I've been doing community organizing and community development for 46 years, and I have never been as excited or optimistic about the opportunities that are in Homewood as I am right now. And that is due to the fact that we have a room full of people, to the vision of Reverend Ricky Burgess, our councilman, to the vision of Ed Gainey, our state representative, and to community organizations, the Homewood Collaborative, and the work that's been put together by Pam on this. So we just give yourselves a hand for just being here and for the opportunities that we face right now. Building United of Southwestern Pennsylvania is, some of you may know, is a faith-based organization, and our mission is to provide quality, affordable housing. We have offices above Operation Better Block at 801 North Homewood Avenue. We built the new homes that are right next to Reisenstein School, and the most recently completed 6 houses on Finance Street. And we're able to raise the money to subsidize those so that people could have a new house and have it at something that's affordable. This year, we are really, really blessed to be involved in all the current projects that are happening in Homewood. We were blessed to form a collaboration with East Liberty Development to be awarded a award for 40 units by the Housing Authority. So that's one project we're working on. We have been blessed to be a community partner with KBK, and Keith and KBK's reputation spread across the country. I can't think of a better partner to work with than someone who grew up in Pittsburgh, left, made good, and came back and decided to share the wealth. So we're very proud to be part of the project that KBK will be telling you more about later. And we have this project that's right near the busway at the corner of Rosedale and Susquehanna Street, near the new Bridgeway building. This is some of the vacant land there. And these units you see are historic properties. And we formed a partnership to acquire those, and we are going to refurbish those. There's 16 units there, and we're going to, we're putting together the team to redo these on the inside and the outside. You can go to the next slide. That's another vacant lot that's across the street. So we're also, you can go to the next slide. This is the back of those properties. The next slide. That's the front. We have someone here, we have someone here who lives across the street who's on the board of Operation Better Block. Where is she? We've talked with the community. We've met with OBB, Cluster 9, 3 times. We've walked around and looked at where there's other opportunities to do some development there. And go to the next slide, Sean. Now this is one of the houses we just completed. Well, actually 2 years ago. That's on Finance Street. And I know you're hearing a lot of discussion about rental housing and subsidized housing. There are a lot of people who also want to own their own individual house. So I have a couple slides here to show you the next one, that this is a project we did. It's on Finance Street. There's 6 houses. So not only are we doing the rental property, but we're also have done for sale housing, and we've been able to raise the money, and we've had amazing cooperation from the URA, from City Council, from the state representative, from Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency to be able to get enough money to not only build quality housing, but to make it affordable. So we're very, very excited. I haven't seen this much activity and opportunity in Homewood in years. Just to help you all put this in perspective, if you look at what's happening in the Hill District, that process is a process that took close to 20 years to get that development. It took close to 10 plus years for what you see happening in Larimer. But with the leadership of Reverend Burgess and Councilman Burgess and Representative Gainey, we're going to be able to see that much investment, more than you see in Larimer, and it's not going to take us 10 years. It's happening right now. So I want to just say to all of our partners at the city, at the URA, elected and appointed officials, how glad we are to be part of this. But I also don't want to forget to thank Brother Birdsong, who has opened up his facility and made it possible for us to have a place where we can come and meet in large numbers and come together and work together and see a vision that we can make a reality. So this is a very exciting time, and many of us thought we'd never live to see it. Amen? But it's here. It's not just coming. The projects are already, the shovel's in the ground. Some of the houses are already built. The money's been approved. This is an amazing opportunity, and as long as we work together, we can do more. And I want to leave with this one note. Pam mentioned that we don't always agree, and so often we let the perfect be the obstacle for what's possible. Nothing is perfect. And if we oppose or argue about every plan that's not perfect, we'll never get anything done. But there's so much good that can happen if we learn to compromise and work together, because today's your turn, tomorrow's somebody else's turn. Today it's your neighborhood, tomorrow's somebody else's neighborhood. But if we take the long view and understand that there's something here for everybody, we all have a role, we all have a part, we all have a voice in making this vision become a reality, there's no telling what we can do if we work together and learn to love each other and appreciate what we already have. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited about what's happening. I'm looking forward to what's going to come. Thank you, Pam.
That was very gracious. Thank you, Reverend Ware. We appreciate that, and I'm going to leave my commentary until we listen to Brother Jerome. There we go. So Jerome Jackson is you know him. He's the Executive Director of Operation Better Block.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I'm just going to be real brief, just talk about a couple of projects that Operation Better Block is involved in, and then talk a little bit about our progress report. So the first is our project that we're doing is the James T. Givner building. It is a 2-story building. It'll be 7 one-bedroom apartments and 4 commercial spaces on the first floor. That building will be located on North Homewood Avenue, right next to the Homewood station. James T. Givner is the first executive director of Operation Better Block, and so that's why we're naming the building after him. And so with that, we'll have more conversation with residents as we finalize our funding for that project and move forward finalizing our plans. The second is our Race Street rehab project. We are actually rehabbing 2 houses on Race Street, somewhere around $150,000 for each home, and then we will be selling them at a discounted rate of about $70,000. This project is a collaboration, or actually part of the Homewood Housing Preservation Project, which is a collaboration between Operation Better Block, Homewood Children's Village, Rebuilding Together Pittsburgh, and NeighborWorks. And how this project actually came about was trying to get some folks from the neighborhood into rehabbing or learning how to rehab houses. And it's spin off from a project that we just completed, 6 houses that we put about $30,000 into each house, and they are on Tioga Street. And so our goal with this project is our facade project, but we actually do work inside and outside of the homes, is to give residents an opportunity who live near development projects. So we did 6 this past year. We're going to be doing 6 more, and they're all in the area where the Phase 2, the Susquehanna homes that Mr. Darnell Jackson talked about. So the idea is to put new roofs, new windows, new doors, fix up residents' homes so that when the new houses come, their property values can hopefully increase. And that we're building houses that are next to houses that look nice. And so we're going to continue to do that work, hopefully, as we continue to raise money for it. So we did 6 this past year. We're going to be doing 6 more in that area. And with the Race Street project, we took some guys who were working on that project with us, and now they're going to actually gut out a whole entire, 2 houses, gut them out, and rehab them. From top to bottom, and then Operation Better Block will be looking to sell them as our way of contributing back to community development. So a lot of people are talking about building new houses, but we believe that there are a lot of structures that are here that has some integrity that we can actually bring back to life. And so we're going to focus a little bit on rehabbing houses as opposed to building new houses. And then our last piece is our progress report. So we have these over on our table. This is a progress report from the time I became executive director in 2010 until present. Just talks a little bit about some of the projects that we do, our tangled titled work, work with our Junior Green Corps and some other things. So please grab one if you're interested in what we do at Operation Better Block and what we've been doing over the last 6 years. It's all in our progress report. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jerome, and congratulations on all the hard work. Next up, we will have Mr. Keith B. Keys, the CEO of KBK Enterprises. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Okay, I'm last. I know everybody's sleepy. Good evening. Okay, thank you. I know this is always a rough part being last. Thank you all for your patience. I know there's a lot that you've heard today, and there's a lot that hopefully you'll hear more about as you go to different tables. But I wanted to talk a little bit about our project coming up. But before I do, I'll have to bring up my partner, Director Castor Binion. He's Director of the Housing Authority. He's our partner in this particular project. We're excited to be working with him. We've done hundreds of millions of dollars together, and we've been successful all throughout the city, and it couldn't have happened without his support and leadership. And so I'm excited to do another project with him in Homewood. So here's Director Binion.
Thank you. The Housing Authority look for every opportunity to do affordable housing in the city. We will always listen to the community, just like the Chief of Staff said. The Housing Authority will listen to the community, and we will work with partners to increase affordable housing and work with each community to make sure that we have a plan that people can work with. So I'm glad to be here with KBK. We have other partners that we're working with in Homewood, and we're just glad to be back in the scene to assist and be a partner with this community. Thank you for letting us come in and be a partner.
Well, I'm not going to be up here long either. I'm going to bring up my leader in Pittsburgh. You've met her before. You've seen Tisha Germany around town. I want to announce she's our newest vice president, so she's been promoted. She's trying to take my job, but I'm trying to keep my job a little longer. So I'm so proud of what she's been able to do since I've been to Pittsburgh maybe 7 years ago. She was my first employee in Pittsburgh, and so all the work that we've done here has been really through a lot of her hard work and leadership, so I'm proud of her. I want you all to know this is, for me, good to be back home. I know many of you in the room, and for me, this is part of why I got involved in this business, to come back home and be able to make a difference, to be able to hire people who look like us, to be able to create an opportunity that didn't exist before. And I know it's been tough. I'm from Pittsburgh, born on the hill, grew up in Garfield, went to Peabody. It's been tough, right? It's been tough on all of us. And now's an opportunity that development is coming to our communities for us to play a role and also benefit economically as well. We want our kids to have safe places to play and grow up. We want jobs to be available. We want economics to be able to be a part of our lifestyle as well. And hard work that's going on from not just the community that, from Brother Rashard over there doing some hard work, but you got a super advocate in Reverend Burgess. He's been preaching this from the day I met him. When I first met him, he was so excited about it. And I said, man, if he does half of what he says, this is going to be a better community. And I've been able to see what's been done in both Garfield and Larmer. It's just been phenomenal. So thank you, Reverend Burgess, over there. There he is back there, Reverend Burgess. He's been a great leader for this neighborhood and advocate. And Ed Gainey, he's been a super leader. He's a Peabody graduate, so he's a special guy to me. He's an OSU fan as well, since I played football at OSU. So this is great to be able to bring all these leaders together. Mayor Perduto has been super supportive of Homewood. As you know, he had his campaign here when it kicked off, so there's a lot of support for Homewood. Our job is really to take advantage of all the support that we have at the table for Homewood and make something great happen. Everybody's waiting for something to happen. You being here at least tells me that this is possible. If you didn't come, I wasn't going to stay long, but I stayed because you stayed. And so I want to thank you for your support and your commitment to the community and your commitment to be a part of this initiative. So I'll pass it over to Tisha and let her walk you through the project.
Thank you. We'll try to go fast. It's hard being last, so I apologize for that. We go to the first slide. So quickly, to just talk through what we're going to discuss this evening. We've had a brief introduction. I'm going to introduce the project a little bit and the process of what we've been going through so far. And just to make sure that everyone understands that we recognize it's a process and that this is just a step in the continuation of the process to get a project going that everyone can be proud of and everyone can be a part of. So we want to be able to get your feedback tonight. We have a table over here in the corner where you can kind of see what we're thinking of so far up close. We're interested in your feedback. We're interested in your questions. So please don't hesitate to come and visit us after the presentation. This is just some of the community meetings that we've had so far. So we've started with the kickoff with the stakeholders in the community. So we've talked to OBB and to Rashad at CEA and talked to folks at the Y and other community leaders just about what we want to do when we come into the community, what our ideas are to help get their feedback on how do we start to approach the community and what that starts to look like. So we've been working on this now for 4 or 5 months to get to this point. Then we did an introduction with the Homewood Collaborative, just so that everyone that's a part of the collaborative knows who we are, knows our experience, knows me personally. They can get my information, get my number, and again get their feedback on what were the next steps, who were the community groups that we needed to talk to, so we understood that piece. And then we started to meet with the cluster group because they made a point to say that that was an important piece, talk to the residents that will be affected by the area that we were trying to build in, to see what their interests are, what the important pieces of the puzzle are with them as well. So we've met with the cluster, we've been to a number of the HCC meetings as well. And lastly, we met with the stakeholders again prior to this meeting a couple weeks ago, just to give them an update on where we've been, who we've talked to, and kind of get their feedback. So what we want to do tonight, because I know a lot of you weren't at the cluster meeting or maybe had not been at the HCC meeting, is go through what we've presented to that cluster and to the community. So our design partner is Ken Donio from Rothschild Donio Collaborative. He's going to go real quick, but at least give everybody a kind of an idea of the process, what we've talked about, and what we've been thinking so far. So I'll turn it over to Ken.
Thank you, Tisha and Keith, and thank you, everybody. It is always humbling to be here in Homewood, and we've had the honor of working here now for decades in a number of different roles, but primarily as architects trying to help create more strength in the community through the development of new buildings. And so we're just going to give a little quick overview. This is an aerial. You can see Holy Rosary up there in the upper right and the library. The site is really right in the middle of this area. We have the former Kelly high-rise senior housing site, which is an anchor of this, and then a number of parcels on Hamilton Avenue, and that's really the core block at the center of this photograph, which will be the focus as we move to the plan. My firm, Rothschild Donio Collaborative, has had the honor of working not just in Homewood, but throughout a number of Pittsburgh's communities that have been in the process of recovering from some of the challenges that the entire region has faced. We're very proud of that work in the Hill District on Dinwiddie Street and the Legacy in Braddock and in our own office in Penn Avenue in the Strip District. We also most recently, and even in fact earlier today, had the great pleasure of being at the Everyday Cafe, which is a matter of weeks away from serving great coffee and food every day and every morning. We have worked with S&A Homes and Oxford Development on the Homewood Station Senior Housing. I live a half a mile away, so I'm by here all the time, and it is such a pleasure to see the seniors sitting out on that front porch all the time and really seeing the amount of activity and the success of the commercial spaces as well as the senior housing here. We're very proud of this. So many of you have gotten to know us through that process. So this project, I'm going to skip this slide and keep going straight into the slide. One of the things that we looked at was the cluster work. We're very familiar with that work, having studied it and worked with it in Homewood Station. Really appreciate the work of Studio for Spatial Practice and Operation Better Block in bringing this information together. Next slide. As Tisha pointed out, we had the opportunity to meet with the cluster and to form a plan that consists of 2 and 3 bedroom houses and duplexes and flats And what you can see here along the top of the page, that red outline is the whole area of the site. That's Kelly Street at the top of the page. That's Hamilton going through the center there, down below. There's Nazarene Baptist and Stargell Field over to the right, Homewood Library. And then, of course, at Mertland, we have the Animal Rescue League over to the left here. So where our focus is here is building houses that are individual and duplex and triplex houses that will consist of 2 and 3 bedroom units, and even pulling off a little bit from Kelly Street up at the top to create a little green space and common yard space. They will all be alley served for their parking spaces along the back. And then along Hamilton, we have similar, where we're infilling those blocks, but we keep the existing houses, many of which are privately held and occupied, in between. So everywhere where there's an existing home that's occupied, that stays an existing home. Then over to the bottom right, we see the purple block. That is a community space that's utilized at a small scale to serve the residents of there, as well as serve some of the immediate needs of the neighborhood, to create a smaller gathering spaces for parties, birthday parties, little celebrations that might happen and help and not be able to be as well facilitated within the community. It's very striking to be able to do this many units at once, because we feel like this will really complete a long section of Hamilton Avenue and Kelly Street and connect the business district back over towards some of the development we see further down Hamilton Avenue. Next slide, please. So zooming in here, what we've done is we take our longer duplex flats, which is the longer units. Those go on the ends so that they have longer windows. We're looking at the front porches and starting to study the different housing types of the neighborhood, so they won't all look the same, but we'll have them relate to the 2- and 3-story houses of the community. This will be funded through the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, or PHFA, so we'll be following all of their guidelines and parameters. They really support excellent design, and they really foster great design and urban design. What you see over to the right is we have a lot of sites that are in the community that have the building stand up from the site, what we would call a little hill or a plinth, and then the alley comes from the back. All of these sites are really quite flat and quite level with the yard. That allows us to really make sure that everybody can visit and they can all be accessible, but we still have to create that nice sense of a front porch and a front yard between the house and the sidewalk, so that those become important spaces for the residents, for their families, for the people and children that live there. Next slide, please. On Hamilton Avenue, we really see that opportunity to maybe try to do some second-story porches or other balconies to start to fit into some of the other types that we see there too. But we will start to vary those unit types. You can see we will be closer to the ground in all of these spaces. Hamilton, the houses are a little closer to the street. We probably will try to step those back to keep that comfortable, because we know there's still a good bit of traffic and busyness on the road there. Next slide. So from an overview standpoint, what you're seeing here is really looking at the opposite side with Kelly Street in the foreground. And this is really the first sort of big picture overview. And we've taken off the houses based on some of the review and the cluster discussions that would face in the back of the cul-de-sac coming next to Stargell Field. But otherwise, a lot of this is characteristic of the plan right here as our sort of first aerial overview. Next slide. What these are a series of community meetings. When we first arrived here, we received these notes from a September 20th meeting and started with our October 4th meeting, met with the residents. If you go to the next slide. And we had a different plan than the one you're looking at, and we heard 16 very important comments from: where does the parking lot for Stargell Field go? Is there a possibility of reusing the former school site? A whole bunch of questions that we started to address and will continue to address, both those things that are within the control of the project and those things, frankly, that may be outside of the control. We'll do our best to move those forward, but all of the within the boundary of those red lines is the limit of what we have control over. But what you can see down at the bottom, number 15, don't build along Susquehanna Street on the back. The plan that we just showed, those are already gone. So this was 2 meetings. We move quickly. We repeat what we hear so that people know that we're hearing them, we're responding to them, and then the next plan we come back with changes in the design that reflect the changes and responding to what we hear from the community. Next slide. So here you have the bird's eye view also from the opposite corner looking back towards Sturgill Field in the background, and we're very excited about the future of this whole area and the whole block, and what you see in yellow are all of the sites that will be part of this. So what you can see here, again, this was from that first October 4th meeting. The one on Susquehanna Street has changed and other properties have changed there, and we know that the parking lot for Sturgill Field is very important for the community because of how much activity is going on there. So we know that that's a component of this that we need to address with the URA and other partners for the project. Next slide. Tisha, thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Kim. One of the goals of KBK and our mission is to go beyond bricks and sticks. And we do that by changing lives. The first aspect of being able to change lives is when we start working in the community, how do we impact the community and how do we bring folks in to be a part of it? And the first piece is the MBE and WBE participation. What we do when we first come into the community is when we have the plan that everyone has agreed upon and we've blessed, then we're ready to involve the MBE and WBE partners in the process. And what we'll do is we'll have a kickoff event. We'll have a separate event that we will invite folks that are MBE and WBE members to be able to come to see the plans, to meet with our contractors, to ask questions, and then we have those plans in our office where they can come in and set up times to ask questions again, to understand the bidding process and to be able to be a part of the process. To be able to be a part of that, we'll have at the kickoff event this vendor profile that will be a list of all kinds of questions that we'll need you to answer with your profile so that we're able to invite you to bid on the project. And you'll be able to get that, you'll get your interviews, and we'll be able to select. We have Jennifer Gage over here at our table who has a sign-up sheet, and if you're interested in being a part of that and getting invited to that event, please come see Jennifer. We also have somewhere else around here folks from our Alliance construction team and our project management team, and they'll be here also to answer any questions that you might have on that. Next slide. So this is how we will flow through the businesses for our MBE and WBE participation. Why we're here, one of the other reasons why we're here is because we're looking for businesses that are in the Homewood neighborhood. So if you are a Homewood-based business, please come see us because we want to make sure that you're a part of the economic change that's happening here in Homewood. And then we'll look for other minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, any joint ventures that you have, and finally, majority firms. The other piece of the puzzle is being able to put folks in the community to work. So we've worked with Rashad, we've worked with Johnny, we've worked with Mayat, we've worked with a lot of other folks on being able to find folks in the community that can be a part of the process and be employment. So that process will have a recruitment fair as well. We'll ask you to fill out this questionnaire that really gives us your information, your contact information, and what trade you're interested in being a part of. And when those trades start to get on the site, we'll have interviews and be able to pre-qualify you and be able to also monitor you to make sure that you are adjusting well, you have any issues, you're being paid your correct rate, all of those things will follow you through the process. Again, see Jennifer and Satara over there at the table. There's a separate sign-up sheet if you are interested in being employed on the project. I think that's it. Oh, and so this is the flow chart for how we're going to do the hiring process. Again, just like MBE businesses and WBE businesses that are based in Homewood, we're also looking for folks that are in Homewood that are interested in working first. You get pushed to the top of the list when we're looking for employment opportunities. And that will be the Housing Authority residents, low-income residents, and then City of Pittsburgh low-income residents, and then others. So it's really important. We're looking for you guys first. If you know someone, one of your children, your cousin, it doesn't matter. You've got a Homewood address, you're going to get pushed to the top of the list for employment opportunities. And that's it. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for your patience this evening. We are going to break out into a question and answer session. Before we do that, I just want to connect just a couple of quick things, and then I'm going to ask Reb to close us out. One is that HELP is acting as really a facilitator. So there's a lot of richness already in Homewood, and there's a lot more that's coming. You have organizations that have been here and been in the trenches and doing the work, and there are new ways to connect. If you want information, go to www.helppgh.org. We are listing information that's community-based information. Organizations that are having things are posting on our website. We're hoping that you'll utilize this as a means of being able to know when are meetings, when are community events that maybe you don't know about. So instead of having to go to 5 or 6 different places, use that as a community resource. Hold us accountable, and we look forward to working with you very soon. And Rev, if you want to come on up and close us out. Appreciate everybody. Thank you so much.
So a couple of things. Now, let me explain how this is going to go. Even though I'm going to give the final prayer, we're not finished. We're going to line up all the developers, all the workers, so that you can come and walk around and ask individual questions. There's a couple of things I have to say thank you to. So I don't know if you've been keeping track, but what you've heard is over the next 18 months to 2 years, 150 new homes will be built in Homewood. $50 million worth of development. That doesn't count the new homes, the new businesses that will come along with this development. This is not the end, this is just the beginning of rebuilding our whole community. Put your hands together for that. The only way this could happen, the only way this happened is because we have a mayor, a county executive, a state rep, and a local council person who have all worked exactly together in one. They've all decided to make Homewood a priority. They heard the people who've been working in Homewood all these years, and they decided that Homewood needed to be blessed first. And if you heard Kevin carefully, we are the first of what will be a city-wide effort. If this works in Homewood, they will replicate this in the Hill District, in the North Side, in Belsuva. Around the city will be moved because of what we do in Homewood. It's really important that we work together. I also have to have one other thank you, and he didn't know I'm going to say this. Castor Binion, stand up. You do not know this, but there is probably not one other person in the city of Pittsburgh who has put more money in African American communities, making sure that African American families have clean, decent, affordable housing than Castor Binion. Thank you very much for your leadership. Okay, a couple things. There is a card that has been passed out. It is called the Help Pledge. All right, there's also a website, which is helppgh.org. You can sign up, turn it in. You also can go on the website. All this information's on the website. Now, KBK is over there. Wave your hand, KBK, the good-looking folk over there. And they'll be over there for questions. The HELP people will be up here in front of these charts to answer questions about the HELP initiative. OBB is there. Sam Ware is over to the left. We'll all be here to answer individual questions about how you get involved, how can you afford the housing, how can you get on the waiting list, how can you get your son employed. All those informations. There's also other people to help minority businesses. We're all here to empower the community. Keith didn't tell you his story. Keith is from Garfield, and he played football for Ohio State. I won't tell you how much money he makes, but a lot of money, right? He's built housing all across this nation. He decided that he wanted to come back home and rebuild Pittsburgh. He used to have a friend in Homewood. We'll talk about that later, right? So he used to hang out here in Homewood, and so he knows this area well. We're going to, if I was a Nazarene, I would say this. This is why I say a Nazarene, but we're going to pretend tonight. Is that all right, Sister Richardson? That's one of my members. We're going to pretend that we're a Nazarene together, and I want you to repeat it. I'm going to say something. Here's what I say. We're in this thing together. The answer is together. We're in this thing We're in this thing. We're in this thing. We're going to rebuild Homewood. Tell them, talk to your neighbors. Tell them, we're going to rebuild Homewood. To the other side, we're going to rebuild Homewood. And we're going to start. We're going to start. We're going to start. Put your hands together and praise God in this place. Help Initiative folk, come on up front, so you're going to answer questions. Developers to the left, the Homewood, they help people here to explain the process. Everybody stand on your feet, touch somebody by the hand. Don't touch them if you don't like them. Don't play today. If you touch them, you like them. If you don't like them, say you're sorry. Shh, shh. We're going to close out, but we're going to stay here and answer every question. I'll be the last person to leave. Shall we pray? God, we are thankful for we see a miracle in this place. Lord, we believe it is time for us to reap. We have been sowing seeds. We have been faithful. It is now our time to reap. God, if it be your will, rebuild Homewood into a clean, decent place to live. Help us to have new businesses and new houses and new and better jobs. Help our children to go to better schools and to grow up safe in our own communities. We believe that you can, know that you will hear and answer prayer. So God, we've had these people who have come tonight to give the best of their efforts. Help them sign up for the comprehensive planning and to sign up to work and build their own community. Sign up so that they can be part of the change in this place. Lord God, we are thankful for our eyes have seen and our ears have heard and our hearts have felt. But before we leave tonight, to be honest with you, we got needs of our own. Someone's like me, they've just lost a loved one, and we need you to touch. Someone may be sick today, needs a touch. Somebody needs a new job, needs a touch. I know you're a God who can meet every need and bless every heart. So Lord, even tonight, we are looking for a miracle. Bless every person in the sound of my voice. Make a difference in their life. Let them know that I love them, but let them know that you love them best. Now, God, dismiss us from this place, but never from your sight. Continue to be with us as we talk tonight. In your name we pray. Let's all say, come on, one more hand and give God one more hand of praise before we leave this place. All right, move around, ask your questions. We're all here tonight for you.